the European Union Economic Partnership Agreement with 77 African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries was signed in Cotonou in June 2000. And the relation governing the agreement is to broaden the relationship between the EU and the African countries. ECOWAS is the leading negotiator of that agreement, and Liberian Ministry of Commerce is a lead to make sure this agreement is enforced. Today, they have organized a forum to trickle down this partnership agreement, kind of raising awareness to the private sectors. I will have a series of interviews with organizers from the West African region of this awareness of EPA, Economic Partnership Agreement of the European Union. With me is Mr. Percy from Ghana, and a custom expert, and he is here today. Starting this conversation, welcome to African Voices, Mr. Percy.
Thank you very much.
This Economic Partnership Agreement, and what exactly is EPA and the benefits to the private sector, especially to the context of Liberia?
Thank you very much. The Economic Partnership Agreement is what is following the Cotonou Agreement, which has expired and which is going to regulate trade between the European Union and the African, Caribbean, Pacific countries. And indeed, it is a partnership, as the name implies. And what basically this involves the opening of West African markets gradually and progressively up to 75%, whilst the EU opens a market 100% from the very date of signature. Now, in terms of its benefits, let me say that here West Africa has been very cautious that the products that have been scheduled for progressive liberalization involves capital goods, raw materials, and inputs which go directly into manufacturing. What we expect is that this is going to stimulate the production capacity of West Africa. We expect that the raw materials, capital equipment are going to come in very cheap, and this will enhance the production capacity of the West African private sector. Now, secondly, it is important to also note that West Africa is negotiating relaxed and improved rules of origin, which will encourage the relocation of investments into West Africa and also in Liberia. So once the agreement is going to enhance the productive capacity of West Africa and also encourage investment into our region, the private sector is going to benefit, and the population in West Africa is going to be the beneficiary.
With the context at hand, which is Liberia, do you see the potential of this agreement trickling down relatively specific to Liberian private sectors, because it's involved trade, and I'm not sure it's comprehensive with the agricultural sector, but trade in particular and the small industries. With the way it is, do you think the private sectors, it will trickle down, they will benefit from this partnership?
Yes, indeed, I think the private sector in Liberia will benefit. But what is required is that Liberia has to position itself properly to be able to reap the full benefits of this agreement. Now, Liberia, just like many West African countries, produce a lot of agricultural products. Now, we have tried to exclude these products from liberalization. Now, secondly, it is also important to also underline the fact that for Liberia, a lot of capital and machinery already come in free under the investment regime of the Liberian government. Now, that is one area where the EPA comes in very handy, because we are seeking to liberalize capital equipment which go directly into production. So we expect that Nigeria private sector will have to position itself very well to reap the benefits that the EPA seeks to provide.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The pleasure has been mine.
In continuation of this interview with the organizers of this EPA awareness, that's Economic Partnership Agreement for Liberia, Minister Mother. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
What's your full name?
Stephen Monrovia.
Okay, Stephen Marvin. Today you spoke. You are one of the speakers of this EPA awareness, and then you talked about the impact, and then after explaining what EPA is, please can you elaborate, considering the economy we have right now, and considering the unemployment Liberia is going through, about 80-something, our economy, are we suitable in the right position to talk about partnership?
Well, there is not a better moment to talk about partnership than right now, because this is the only way trade can respond to the challenges of economic growth, poverty reduction, and development. We are part of a multilateral trading system, and no matter what, there's a need for you to seek trade preferences with your trading partners. The EU is one of Liberia's biggest trading partners. And through the Economic Partnership Agreement, we are going to improve regional trade, we are going to improve our collaboration with our colleagues in the region, and we are going to improve our interaction with the European Union. One, a lot of firms from Liberia are beginning to develop their capacities. They will have the opportunity to import industrial inputs, equipment from the European Union. We also have the chance to export a lot of items, a lot of products to the EU. And those products will be going across to the EU duty-free. The duty-free regime that is provided for under the European Union arrangement with Africa and ECOWAS is quite, is something that we cannot just let go. The fiscal adjustment that is required has already been taken care of in the amount of 6.5 billion euros by the European Union, and that comes every 5 years. The liberalization is quite gradual, so it gives us an opportunity to protect our infant industries and grow them. We can learn from European firms. We can develop the competitiveness and the inclusive growth we wish to have, and those things are quite critical.
ECOWAS is the leading negotiator for this partnership since it's been signed in Cotonou 2000. That's precisely June.
Yeah.
And they are the leading negotiator, and I'm sure a lot of improved success has been scored. For Liberia, how is your relationship with the ECOWAS body, who has been negotiating for this partnership with the member states?
Well, Liberia has a very good relationship with ECOWAS. We've been part of ECOWAS for quite a long time. Our Ministry of Commerce and Industry is responsible to lead Liberia's negotiation. The Ministry of Finance is responsible to support the efforts of the Ministry of Commerce. At ECOWAS, Liberia sits at a very high level. We have one of the ECOWAS vice presidents is a Liberian, and that tells you the extent to which we've got integrated into the ECOWAS framework. We are involved in the negotiation. Our president is committed, and we are committed to this partnership agreement with the European Union.
Mr. Mane, thank you for coming to African Voices.
Thank you very much.
Interview on this EPA, I have with me EU representative, Ms. Calvo, who attended this forum today, and she's going to comment on the encouragement to the EU sector as she will present today. Ms. Calvo, welcome to African Voices. You've been here, and I saw you participated and asked questions, made some comments. Today's program is an awareness to private sectors. And what is your impression for this awareness to the private sectors of EU agreement?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you very much. It has indeed been a pleasure to be here today, and we welcome that the ECOWAS Commission and Minister of Commerce of Liberia is organizing this engagement with the private sector in Liberia, following the ECOWAS summit a couple of weeks back in Yamoussoukro. We welcome that in Yamoussoukro there was a very consensual approach on the strong support to a very robust trade and investment policies in the West Africa region and to the paramount importance of economic integration. We believe that the Economic Partnership Agreement, and it has been endorsed in principle, will support this process in the West Africa region. We very much welcome that the private sector in Liberia is interested in the process, is interested in the implementation of the ECOWAS Common External Tariff, in the implementation of the trade liberalization scheme within the West Africa region, and we believe that the EPA will support this exercise.
And may I ask if the EU will be quite more interested to continue with this conversation with the private sectors?
Yeah. And the EU will welcome these engagements and will be ready to be part of the processes in the future, indeed.
Ms. Calvo, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you.